The arrival. The vast emptiness of space shimmered as a massive fleet of starships dropped out of hyperspace near the outer edges of Earth's solar system. At the helm of the flagship, Celestial Dominator, stood Admiral Zaxxonor. His four eyes narrowed as he gazed at the holographic display of the solar system before him. Zaxxonor's scaled skin glistened under the soft blue light of the bridge. His tall, imposing figure commanded respect from the crew of various alien species around him. As the Supreme Commander of the Galactic Confederation's 7th Expansion Fleet, he had overseen the subjugation of countless worlds. Earth was to be his crowning achievement before retirement. Status report. Zaxxonor's deep voice rumbled through the bridge. A slender, tentacled alien glided forward, its translucent body pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. Admiral, long-range scans confirm the planet designation Earth is the third from the star. Primitive radio signals detected, consistent with a pre-spacefaring civilization. Zaxxonor's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. Excellent. Science Analyst Kroll. Any signs of advanced technology or defenses? Kroll's tendrils waved in a negative gesture. Negative, Admiral. We detect rudimentary satellites and a small orbital station. No energy shields, no advanced weapons systems. Their most powerful projectiles appear to be chemically propelled rockets. A low chuckle escaped Zaxxonor's throat. Pathetic. This conquest will be even easier than anticipated. Prepare the fleet for approach. We'll be in orbit within the planet's rotation cycle. As the Celestial Dominator and its escort ships glided through the solar system, Zaxxonor reflected on the reports he received about Earth. The Galactic Confederation's scout ships had observed the planet for decades, watching as humans squabbled among themselves, polluted their world, and took their first tentative steps into space. The Admiral had initially questioned why the Confederation would waste resources on such a backwater planet. His superiors had cited the world's abundant resources and strategic location near a nexus of hyperlanes. But more intriguingly, they spoke of the human's potential. Potential. Zaxxonor scoffed to himself. What potential could these primitives possibly have? As the fleet approached Mars, Zaxxonor summoned his top officers to the war room. Holograms flickered to life, showing detailed maps of Earth's continents, oceans, and population centers. Our mission is simple, Zaxxonor began, his voice filled with confidence. We will demonstrate our overwhelming technological superiority, demand their immediate surrender, and begin the process of resource extraction and colonization. Any resistance will be met with swift and decisive force. Val Carey, the fleet's tactical officer, raised a clawed hand. Admiral, what of the humans' nuclear weapons? While primitive, they could pose a threat to our ground forces. Zaxxonor waved a dismissive hand. Our shields can easily withstand such crude devices. Besides, the humans wouldn't dare use them on their own planet. They're far too attached to their homeworld. The briefing continued, with officers discussing invasion strategies, resource acquisition plans, and the establishment of a permanent Confederation presence on Earth. Throughout it all, Zaxxonor couldn't shake a nagging feeling of unease. The conquest seemed too easy, too straightforward. As the meeting concluded, Zaxxonor pulled aside Kroll, the science analyst. Tell me, Kroll, in your studies of human history, have you found anything unusual about this species? Kroll's bioluminescent patterns shifted to a thoughtful hue. There are some anomalies, Admiral. Despite their technological limitations, humans have shown remarkable adaptability and resilience. They've survived multiple extinction-level events and have a knack for rapid technological advancement when pressed. Zaxxonor frowned. Interesting, but surely nothing that could pose a threat to us. Highly improbable, Admiral, Kroll assured him. While humans have potential, they are centuries, if not millennia, behind our level of development. Nodding, Zaxxonor dismissed Kroll and returned to the bridge. As Earth grew larger in the view screen, he pushed aside his doubts. After all, how could a species that still relied on fossil fuels and had barely touched their own moon, hoped to stand against the might of the Galactic Confederation. The fleet entered Earth's orbit with ease, their advanced cloaking technology rendering them invisible to the planet's primitive detection systems. Zaxnor observed the blue-green world below, noting the sprawling cities, vast oceans, and the delicate web of lights that crisscrossed the night side of the planet. "Prepare the announcement broadcast," Zaxnor commanded. "Let's introduce ourselves to our soon-to-be subjects." Moments later, every electronic device on Earth capable of receiving the signal, televisions, radios, smartphones, computers, crackled to life with an alien transmission. Zaxnor's imposing visage appeared on screens worldwide as he began his speech. "People of Earth, I am Admiral Zaxnor of the Galactic Confederation. Your planet has been chosen for integration into our glorious empire. Resistance is futile and will only lead to unnecessary suffering. Surrender now, and you will be granted the privilege of serving the Confederation as a protectorate species. You have one planetary rotation to comply. Choose wisely." As the transmission ended, Zaxnor settled back in his command chair, a self-satisfied smile playing across his alien features. He imagined the panic spreading across the planet, the hopeless realization of humanity's insignificance in the face of superior technology and firepower. However, as reports began filtering in from the planet's surface, Zaxnor's confidence began to waver. Instead of the expected chaos and surrender, Earth's nations were mobilizing with surprising speed and coordination. Military forces worldwide were on high alert, and global leaders were convening in emergency sessions. "Curious," Zaxnor mused. "Perhaps they need a demonstration of our power. Tactical Officer Valkyrie, prepare a precision strike on one of their major cities, something to show them the futility of resistance." Valkyrie nodded and began inputting commands. Moments later, a brilliant beam of energy lanced out from the Celestial Dominator, aimed at the heart of an Earth metropolis. But as the beam approached the planet's atmosphere, something unexpected happened. The energy weapon dissipated harmlessly against an invisible barrier, spreading out in a dazzling display of light that illuminated the sky for hundreds of miles. Zaxnor leaped to his feet, mandibles clicking furiously. "Impossible. Cruel. Explain this immediately." The Scient analyst's tendrils writhed in confusion as it pored over incoming data. "Admiral, it appears the Earth is protected by an energy shield of unknown design and origin. Our sensors didn't detect it until our weapon made contact." Before Zaxnor could respond, the ship's communications officer called out, "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface." On screen, Zaxnor growled, his earlier confidence evaporating. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the stern-faced human woman in a military uniform. Her eyes blazed with determination as she addressed the alien invaders. "This is General Elena Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force. We've known of your existence for decades and have prepared accordingly. Your outdated intelligence has led you into a trap, Admiral Zaxnor. Earth is not the primitive world you believed it to be. This is your only warning. Leave our solar system immediately, or face the consequences of your aggression." As the transmission cut off, Zaxnor stared at the now blank screen in stunned silence. The bridge erupted into a flurry of activity as officers scrambled to reassess the situation and analyze this new threat. In that moment, Admiral Zaxnor realized that his greatest mistake had been to underestimate humanity. As alarms began to blare throughout the ship, signaling the approach of unknown vessels rising from Earth's surface, he understood that this easy conquest was about to become the greatest challenge of his career. The Galactic Confederation's 7th Expansion Fleet, which had confidently entered Earth's orbit expecting the swift victory, now found itself facing an enemy far more formidable than anyone had anticipated. And as the first wave of Earth's defenders approached, Zaxnor couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of humanity's surprises. First contact and resistance. Admiral Zaxnor's four eyes widened as he watched the swarm of Earth vessels rising to meet his fleet. Unlike the primitive rockets he had expected, these ships moved with a grace and speed that rivaled his own. Their sleek, angular designs spoke of advanced engineering, and their hulls seemed to shimmer with an energy field he couldn't quite comprehend. "Full combat alert," Zack Snore bellowed, his earlier smugness replaced by growing concern. "Kroll, analysis of those ships, now." The Scient analyst's bioluminescent patterns pulsed rapidly as it processed the incoming data. "Admiral, the Earth vessels appear to be utilizing a form of gravity manipulation technology. Their power signatures are unusual. I'm detecting energy fluctuations that don't match any known power source in our database. First contact and resistance. 2,000 words." Admiral Zack Snore's four eyes widened as he watched the swarm of Earth vessels rising to meet his fleet. Unlike the primitive rockets he had expected, these ships moved with a grace and speed that rivaled his own. Their sleek, angular designs spoke of advanced engineering, and their hulls seemed to shimmer with an energy field he couldn't quite comprehend. "Full combat alert," Zack Snore bellowed, his earlier smugness replaced by growing concern. "Kroll, analysis of those ships, now." The Scient analyst's bioluminescent patterns pulsed rapidly as it processed the incoming data. "Admiral, the Earth vessels appear to be utilizing a form of gravity manipulation technology. Their power signatures are unusual. I'm detecting energy fluctuations that don't match any known power source in our database." Zack Snore's mandibles clicked in frustration. How could their intelligence have been so wrong? He turned to his tactical officer. "Valkyrie, deploy the fleet in defensive formation Delta 7. Prepare all weapons, but do not fire unless fired upon. We need to reassess the situation." As the Confederation ships moved into position, the Earth fleet came to a halt just beyond weapons range. For a tense moment, the two armadas faced each other in the void of space, neither side making a move. Suddenly, the ship's communication officer called out, "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the lead Earth vessel." "On screen," Zack Snore ordered, steeling himself for what was to come. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a human man with graying hair and piercing blue eyes. He wore a uniform adorned with insignias that Zack Snore didn't recognize, but the air of authority around him was unmistakable. "I am Admiral Jonathan Chen of the United Earth Defense Force," the human began, his voice steady and resolved. "We've known about your Galactic Confederation for longer than you might think, Admiral Zack Snore. We've been preparing for this day for generations." Zack Snore fought to keep his composure. "How is this possible? Your world showed no signs of advanced technology. Your broadcasts, your visible infrastructure." A small smile played across Chen's lips. "A carefully crafted illusion, Admiral. We knew we were being watched, so we showed your scouts exactly what they expected to see. A divided, primitive world ripe for conquest." The alien admiral's mind raced. The implications were staggering. If humans had managed to conceal their true capabilities for so long, what else were they hiding? "Why reveal yourselves now?" Zack Snore asked, buying time as he signaled his officers to analyze every bit of data they could gather on the Earth fleet. "Because you left us no choice," Chen replied. "Your intention to conquer our world forced our hand. We had hoped for peaceful first contact, but your Confederation's expansionist policies made that impossible." Zack Snore felt a mix of admiration and frustration. These humans had outmaneuvered the Confederation before the first shot was even fired. But he wasn't about to give up so easily. "Impressive deception, Admiral Chen," Zack Snore conceded. "But you must realize that this is merely the vanguard of our forces. The full might of the Galactic Confederation will not be denied. Surrender now, and we can avoid unnecessary bloodshed." Chen's expression hardened. "We will not surrender our home, Admiral Zack Snore. You've seen but a fraction of what we're capable of. I urge you, for the sake of your crew and your people, to withdraw." The transmission cut off, leaving Zack Snore to contemplate his next move. He turned to his officers, seeing a mix of fear and determination in their alien faces. Options, he demanded. Valkyrie stepped forward. Admiral, while the Earth fleet appears technologically advanced, we still outnumber them. A swift, overwhelming attack cooled. Before the tactical officer could finish, alarms blared across the bridge. Kroll's tendrils writhed in agitation as it reported. Multiple energy signatures detected. The humans are powering up weapons unlike anything in our records. Zaxxanor had only a moment to shout, evasive maneuvers, before the space around them erupted in chaos. Beams of coherent light, far more powerful than any laser weapons the Confederation possessed, lanced out from the Earth ships. Where they struck, Confederation shields flickered and failed, hulls melted and ruptured. Swarms of small, agile fighters poured out from the larger Earth vessels, engaging the alien ships at close range with a ferocity that left Zaxxanor stunned. Return fire, Zaxxanor ordered, watching in disbelief as his fleet, pride of the Galactic Confederation, was being systematically dismantled by a species they had dismissed as primitive just hours ago. The Celestial Dominator shuddered as it unleashed its main batteries, sending salvos of plasma bolts towards the Earth fleet. But the human ships moved with impossible agility, their gravity drives allowing them to make maneuvers that defied the laws of physics as Zaxxanor understood them. As the battle raged, Zaxxanor received frantic reports from his ground forces. The troops he had sent to secure key locations on Earth's surface were meeting fierce resistance, not just from military forces, but from civilians armed with weapons that seemed to bypass Confederation armor with ease. Admiral, Kroll's normally calm voice was tinged with panic. I'm detecting massive energy buildups in Earth's major cities. They appear to be activating some kind of planetary defense network. Before Zaxxanor could process this new information, the Earth itself seemed to come alive. Massive cannons emerged from hidden silos. Mountains split open to reveal launch bays, and the oceans churned as undersea bases activated. The coordinated assault that followed was unlike anything Zaxxanor had ever experienced in his long military career. Earth's combined forces struck with precision and power that spoke of long preparation and intimate knowledge of Confederation tactics. Zaxxanor watched in horror as ship after ship in his fleet winked out of existence, torn apart by weapons he couldn't comprehend or overwhelmed by the sheer number of Earth fighters swarming them. Admiral, Valkyrie's voice was grim. We've lost over half the fleet. Our ground forces are being overrun. We need to consider a tactical retreat. The word stung Zaxxanor's pride, but he couldn't deny the reality of their situation. In a matter of hours, the sure victory he had anticipated had turned into a catastrophic defeat. All ships fall back to Rally Point Omega, Zaxxanor ordered, his voice heavy with the weight of failure. Prepare for emergency hyperjump. As the remnants of the once mighty 7th Expansion Fleet limped away from Earth, Zaxxanor received one final transmission from Admiral Chen. Let this be a lesson, Admiral Zaxxanor, the human said, his voice firm but not unkind. Humanity will defend its home with everything we have. We are not interested in conquest or subjugation, but we will not hesitate to use our full strength against those who threaten us. Carry this message back to your Confederation. Earth is off limits. The transmission ended, leaving Zaxxanor to contemplate the full magnitude of his failure. As the battered Celestial Dominator prepared to jump to hyperspace, he realized that everything he thought he knew about humanity, about warfare, about the galaxy itself, had been turned upside down. In the span of a single day, humanity had not only repelled what should have been an overwhelming invasion force, but had demonstrated technological and military capabilities that rivaled or surpassed those of the Galactic Confederation. As the stars stretched into lines of light, and the fleet escaped into hyperspace, Zaxxanor knew that nothing would ever be the same. The Galactic Confederation had underestimated humanity, and in doing so, they had awakened a sleeping giant. The question now was, how would the galaxy respond to the emergence of this new formidable power? And what other secrets might humanity be hiding? As the Celestial Dominator hurtled through hyperspace, leaving Earth far behind. Admiral Zaxnor realized that he had not just lost a battle. He had witnessed the dawn of a new era in galactic history. An era where humanity would no longer be seen as a primitive species to be conquered, but as a force to be reckoned with. The real conflict, Zaxnor realized with a mix of dread and anticipation, was just beginning. The hidden strength. As the battered remnants of the 7th Expansion Fleet limped through hyperspace, Admiral Zaxnor found himself in an unfamiliar position. Defeat. The Celestial Dominator's Bridge, once a hub of confident activity, now hummed with a tense, somber energy. Officers spoke in hushed tones, their eyes darting nervously to their brooding commander. Zaxnor's mind raced, replaying the events of the past day. How could they have been so wrong about Earth? The humans' hidden strength and technological prowess haunted him. But even more disturbing was the nagging feeling that they had yet to witness the full extent of humanity's capabilities. Admiral. Kroll's bioluminescent patterns pulsed softly as it approached. I've completed my preliminary analysis of the battle data. Zaxnor nodded, bracing himself. Report. The humans employed technologies far beyond what our intelligence suggested. Kroll began, its tendrils weaving complex patterns as it spoke. Their energy weapons appear to harness some form of quantum entanglement, allowing for instantaneous strikes that bypass traditional defenses. Their gravity drives not only allow for unprecedented maneuverability, but also seem to manipulate local spacetime, making their ships nearly impossible to target effectively. The Admiral's mandibles clicked in frustration. And their planetary defenses. Kroll's colors shifted to a more somber hue. Even more impressive, sir. The network they activated suggests a level of planetary engineering we've never encountered. It's as if they've integrated advanced technology into the very crust of their world. Zaxnor was about to inquire further when alarms blared across the bridge. Val Carey, the tactical officer, called out in panic, Admiral. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected. They're coming from behind us. Impossible, Zaxnor breathed. Earth shouldn't have hyperspace capability, let alone the ability to track ships through it. On screen. The view materialized, showing a small fleet of sleek, predatory-looking Earth vessels emerging from hyperspace. At their head was a massive ship that dwarfed even the Celestial Dominator. Its hull seemed to shimmer and shift, as if it wasn't entirely solid. Evasive maneuvers, Zaxnor ordered, but he knew it was futile. They were outgunned, outmaneuvered, and now, it seemed, outpaced. A transmission cut through their communications, and Admiral Chen's face appeared on screen. This time, he stood on a bridge that looked more advanced than anything Zaxnor had ever seen. Admiral Zaxnor, Chen began, his tone measured but firm. I hoped our previous encounter would be enough to dissuade further aggression. It seems I was mistaken. Zaxnor fought to maintain his composure. How did you follow us through hyperspace? A small smile played across Chen's lips. That's a rather long story, involving Einstein-Rosen bridges and quantum foam manipulation. The short answer is, we've been traversing the stars long before your scouts ever laid eyes on Earth. The revelation hit Zaxnor like a physical blow. Humanity hadn't just been hiding advanced technology. They had been concealing their very nature as a spacefaring civilization. Chen continued, we've watched your Confederation expand, conquering and subjugating world after world. We hid, not out of fear, but because we hoped you might outgrow your imperialistic tendencies. Today's events have proven that hope misplaced. Zaxnor's mind reeled. The implications were staggering. If humans had been space-capable for so long, how many other worlds might they have contacted? How large was their true sphere of influence? What do you want from us? Zaxnor asked, acutely aware of how the tables had turned. First, your unconditional surrender, Chen replied. Then, we'll escort you back to Confederation space. It's time your leaders understood the full scope of their miscalculation. Seeing no alternative, Zaxnor gave the order to stand down. As Earth shuttles began docking with the Confederation ships, he turned to Kroll. "You once spoke of humanity's potential. I don't think any of us truly understood what that meant." Kroll's colors swirled in a pattern Zaxnor had never seen before. Was it awe? Indeed, Admiral. It seems humanity's greatest strength was not any single technology, but their ability to adapt and innovate. They turned their entire planet into a hidden fortress, advancing in secret while presenting a false face to the galaxy. As Earth personnel boarded the Celestial Dominator, Zaxnor was struck by their professionalism and the advanced equipment they carried. Each human wore a suit that seemed to blend armor and spacesuits seamlessly, with built-in systems that Zaxnor could only guess at. One of the humans, a tall woman with dark skin and piercing green eyes, approached Zaxnor. "I'm Colonel Yara Okafor. You'll be coming with me, Admiral. Your crew will be treated well, I assure you." As Zaxnor was led off his own bridge, he felt a mix of humiliation and curiosity. "Tell me, Colonel," he ventured, "how long has Earth truly been among the stars?" Okafor gave him an appraising look before responding. "Officially, we made our first forays into interstellar travel about 300 Earth years ago. Unofficially, well, let's just say human ingenuity found ways to traverse the cosmos long before we had the technology to do so properly." The journey back to Confederation space was a surreal experience for Zaxnor and his crew. They watched in awe as the Earth ships navigated hyperspace with an ease that made the Confederation's fastest ships seem sluggish in comparison. During the journey, Zaxnor was granted limited access to information about Earth's true history and capabilities. He learned of early human experiments with wormhole creation, of first contacts with benevolent alien races that chose to keep humanity's existence a secret, and of the gradual transformation of Earth into a galactic stronghold. But why? Zaxnor asked Colonel Okafor during one of their conversations. "Why hide all of this? Why present yourselves as vulnerable?" Okafor's expression turned serious. "Because, Admiral, we've seen the pattern play out countless times. Young spacefaring races, drunk on their newfound power, expanding aggressively across the stars. We hoped that by appearing primitive, we might avoid conflict and give races like yours the chance to mature." Zaxnor felt a deep shame at her words, recognizing the truth in them. The Confederation's philosophy of expansion and subjugation seemed suddenly childish and short-sighted in the face of humanity's patient, long-term thinking. As they approached the border of Confederation space, Admiral Chen requested Zaxnor's presence on the bridge of the Earth flagship. Standing there, surrounded by technology that made his own ships look obsolete, Zaxnor finally understood the full magnitude of humanity's hidden strength. "What happens now?" he asked Chen, watching as a massive Confederation fleet approached their position, no doubt alerted to the return of their defeated forces. Chen's expression was solemn. "Now, Admiral Zaxnor, we negotiate. Your Confederation faces a choice: continue on its path of conquest and face an opponent it cannot hope to defeat, or embrace a new way of thinking and join a larger galactic community as equals." A transmission from the Lid Confederation ship came through, and Zaxnor recognized the Supreme Commander of the Confederation forces. The aged alien's eyes widened in shock as he took in the scene. The defeated 7th Fleet escorted by ships of clearly superior design. "What is the meaning of this?" the Supreme Commander demanded. Admiral Chen stepped forward. "I am Admiral Jonathan Chen of Earth. Your attempted invasion of our world has failed, and in doing so, has revealed a truth your Confederation was not prepared for. You are not alone in the heights of technological achievement. Indeed, you may find yourselves somewhat behind." The Supreme Commander's expression shifted from shock to outrage to a guarded curiosity. You claim to be our technological superiors." "We claim nothing," Chen replied calmly. "We have demonstrated it. And now we extend an invitation. Join us in peaceful exploration and mutual growth, or continue your misguided attempts at conquest and face the consequences." As the implications of Chen's words sank in, Zaxnor saw the future of the galaxy shifting before his eyes. The Confederation, long unchallenged in its expansion, now faced a power it could neither conquer nor ignore. Humanity had hidden its strength not out of fear, but out of a desire for peace. They had prepared for war while hoping for diplomacy. And now, in revealing themselves, they offered a chance for a new era of galactic cooperation. As discussions began between Earth and Confederation leadership, Zaxnor realized that his defeat had ushered in something far greater than any victory could have achieved. The galaxy was about to change, and humanity's hidden strength would be the catalyst. The age of conquest was over. An era of discovery, cooperation, and unfathomable possibilities was just beginning. And despite his earlier humiliation, Zaxnor found himself eager to see what this new future might hold. Tables turned. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Confederation's capital world, Zenthos Prime, buzzed with an energy unlike anything in its long history. Representatives from every member species filled the tiered seating, their usual orderly proceedings replaced by a cacophony of worried whispers and heated debates. At the center of it all stood Admiral Zaxnor, flanked by Earth's delegation led by Admiral Chen and Colonel Okafor. The defeated alien commander felt the weight of countless eyes upon him as he prepared to address the assembly. Esteemed members of the Confederation, Zaxnor began, his voice carrying the gravity of recent events. I come before you today not in triumph, but in humility. Our attempt to conquer Earth has not only failed, but has revealed a truth that shakes the very foundation of our civilization. A murmur rippled through the crowd as Zaxnor continued. Humanity is not the primitive species we believe them to be. They are, in fact, our technological superiors, having hidden their true capabilities from us for centuries. The assembly erupted in disbelief. Various alien representatives shouted questions and demands for proof. Admiral Chen stepped forward, activating a holographic display that filled the center of the hall. The assembled aliens watched in awe as footage from the battle over Earth played out, showcasing technology that many had thought impossible. What you're seeing, Chen explained, his calm voice cutting through the chaos, is but a fraction of Earth's defensive capabilities. We've long possessed the ability to traverse the stars, to manipulate gravity, and to harness energies your scientists have only theorized about. Colonel Okafor added, for generations we've watched your Confederation expand, hoping you would outgrow your conquering ways. We hid our true nature not out of fear, but out of a desire for peace. The Confederation's supreme leader, a towering crystalline being named Axeloth, rose from his seat. If what you say is true, why reveal yourselves now? Why not simply destroy our fleet and be done with it? Chen's expression softened, because destruction has never been our goal. We believe in the potential for growth, for change. Your attempted invasion forced our hand, but it also presented an opportunity, a chance to guide the Confederation towards a more enlightened path. As Chen spoke, Zaxnor couldn't help but marvel at the humans' diplomacy. Even now, facing those who had sought to conquer them, the Earth representatives spoke of cooperation and mutual benefit. Axeloth's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been curiosity. You speak of guidance, of a new path. Explain. Okafor stepped forward, her voice clear and confident. For millennia, humanity has been part of a greater galactic community, one that values exploration, scientific advancement, and cultural exchange over conquest. We invite the Confederation to join this community, to turn your vast resources towards discovery rather than domination. The assembly hall erupted once more, this time with a mix of skepticism, fear, and, from some quarters, cautious hope. Zaxnor watched as the various factions of the Confederation grappled with this paradigm shift. A Vexteri representative, their tentacled form quivering with agitation, called out, "How can we trust these humans? They've deceived us for centuries." Chen's response was measured. "We understand your skepticism. That's why we're proposing a gradual integration. We'll share some of our technology, clean energy sources, medical advancements, faster-than-light communication systems. Let the benefits speak for themselves. As the debate raged on, Zaxnor found himself drawn into a conversation with a group of younger Confederation officers. Their eyes shone with a mixture of fear and excitement as they peppered him with questions about Earth's capabilities. Is it true their ships can manipulate gravity itself? One asked eagerly. Zaxnor nodded, remembering the impossible maneuvers of the Earth fleet. Their technology. It's like nothing we've ever seen. But what's more impressive is their approach to it. They don't just advance for the sake of power. They seek to understand the universe itself. As the assembly continued, it became clear that the Confederation was divided. The old guard, those who had built their careers on conquest and subjugation, resisted the idea of change. But many, especially among the younger generations, were intrigued by the possibilities this new relationship with Earth could bring. Axeloff, after hours of debate and deliberation, raised a hand for silence. The assembly hall fell quiet as the supreme leader spoke. We find ourselves at a crossroads. Axeloff's resonant voice filled the chamber. For eons, the Galactic Confederation has expanded through force, believing it our right and destiny to rule the stars. Now we face a power that could have destroyed us, yet offers partnership instead. The crystalline leader paused, his faceted form reflecting the light in a mesmerizing display. I propose a probationary period. We will cease all conquest operations and engage with Earth and its allies in cultural and technological exchange. At the end of this period, we will reconvene to decide our path forward. The proposal was met with a mix of reactions, but eventually, a majority vote saw it passed. As the assembly adjourned, Zaxnor found himself approached by Admiral Chen. Your testimony was crucial, Chen said, extending a hand in the human gesture of greeting. You've taken the first step towards a new future for your people. Zaxnor grasped Chen's hand, marveling at the warmth of the human skin. I've seen the error of our ways, Admiral. But tell me, what assurances do we have that Earth won't simply conquer us as we sought to conquer you? Chen's smile was warm, but his eyes were serious. If conquest was our goal, this conversation wouldn't be happening. We believe in self-determination, in the right of all sentient beings to chart their own course. Our role is to offer guidance, not to rule. As the Earth delegation prepared to depart, Zaxnor was surprised to receive an invitation. We'd like you to accompany us back to Earth, Okafor explained. As a gesture of good faith, we're offering to show you the true face of our world. The journey back to Earth was a revelation for Zaxnor. The human ships, no longer hiding their capabilities, traversed vast interstellar distances in mere hours. Along the way, they encountered other alien vessels, species Zaxnor had never seen before, all seemingly in peaceful cooperation with humanity. As they approached Earth, Zaxnor gasped audibly. The planet he saw bore little resemblance to the one he had attempted to invade. The illusory pollution and primitive satellites were gone, replaced by gleaming orbital stations and a shimmering energy field that enveloped the entire world. Welcome, Chen said, a note of pride in his voice, to the real Earth. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of discovery for Zaxnor. He toured advanced research facilities, where humans worked alongside alien species on projects that pushed the boundaries of known science. He witnessed vast terraforming operations on Mars, the Jovian moons, and even in other star systems. But what struck him most was the culture. Humans, for all their advanced technology, maintained a deep appreciation for art, philosophy, and the natural world. They debated ideas freely, challenged each other's assumptions, and seemed driven by an insatiable curiosity about the universe. During a quiet moment, gazing out at the Earth from an orbital station, Zaxnor turned to Okafor. I understand now, he said softly, why you hid all this, why you gave us a chance to grow on our own. We weren't ready. Okafor nodded, her expression thoughtful. Every spacefaring race faces this moment. the choice between using their technology for conquest or for exploration and growth. We hoped the Confederation would make that choice on its own. As his time on Earth drew to a close, Zaxxanor felt profoundly changed. He had come to this world as a conqueror and was leaving as a student, humbled by the vastness of what he had yet to learn. In a final meeting with Earth's leadership, Zaxxanor made a request. "I wish to serve as a liaison between Earth and the Confederation," he said, "to help guide my people towards this new path." The human leaders exchanged glances before Chen responded. "We would welcome your assistance, Admiral. The road ahead will not be easy. Many in the Confederation will resist change. But with individuals like yourself bridging our cultures, there's hope for a peaceful transition." As Zaxxanor prepared to return to Confederation space, he carried with him not just advanced technology and scientific knowledge, but a new philosophy. He had seen firsthand the power of cooperation, of pursuing knowledge for its own sake rather than for domination. The tables had indeed turned, but not in the way anyone could have predicted. The failed invasion of Earth hadn't just revealed humanity's hidden strength. It had opened the door to a new era of galactic cooperation. And Zaxxanor, once the pride of the Confederation's conquering fleets, now found himself at the forefront of the greatest peace movement the galaxy had ever known. As his ship departed Earth's orbit, Zaxxanor watched the blue planet recede, marveling at how one world, one species, could change the course of galactic history. The future, he realized, was brighter than he had ever imagined. A new understanding. 5 years had passed since the failed invasion of Earth and the subsequent revelation of humanity's true capabilities. The galaxy was a changed place, and nowhere was this more evident than in the Great Hall of Harmony on Zenthos Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Confederation. Admiral Zaxxanor, now serving as the chief liaison between Earth and the Confederation, stood before the assembled representatives of hundreds of worlds. His once imposing military uniform had been replaced by the simple, elegant robes of a diplomat. Beside him stood Admiral Chen and Colonel Okafor, their presence a testament to the new era of cooperation. "Esteemed colleagues," Zaxxanor began, his voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. "5 years ago, we stood on the brink of a disastrous war. Today, we gather to celebrate an unprecedented period of peace and progress." The hall buzzed with murmurs of agreement. Even the most skeptical members of the Confederation had to admit that the alliance with Earth had brought about remarkable changes. "In these 5 years," Zaxxanor continued, "we've seen advancements that once seemed impossible. Our worlds are cleaner, our people healthier, our understanding of the universe deeper than ever before." He gestured to a series of holographic displays that sprang to life around the hall. They showed images of Confederation worlds transformed. Polluted skies cleared by Earth's atmospheric purification technology, barren planets made habitable through terraforming techniques, diseases once thought incurable now easily treated. Admiral Chen stepped forward. "What you're seeing is just the beginning," he said, his voice warm but serious. "The partnership between Earth and the Confederation has opened doors we've only begun to walk through." Colonel Okafor added, "But perhaps the most significant change has been in our collective philosophy. The pursuit of knowledge, the drive to explore and understand rather than conquer, has taken root across the Confederation." It was true. In the years since the revelation of Earth's true nature, a cultural shift had swept through the Confederation. Young aliens from hundreds of species now dreamed not of military conquest, but of scientific discovery and cosmic exploration. Axeloth, the supreme leader of the Confederation, rose from his crystalline throne. "We have indeed come far," his resonant voice filled the chamber. "But challenges remain. There are still those who cling to the old ways, who view our new path as weakness." Zaxxanor nodded solemnly. He knew all too well the resistance they faced. Hardliners within the Confederation military, war profiteers, and those whose power had been built on the old system of conquest and subjugation continued to push back against the changes. "Which is why," Axeloth continued, "today's assembly is so crucial. We must decide whether to fully commit to this new path, to officially transform the Galactic Confederation from an empire of conquest to a union of exploration and mutual growth. The hall erupted in discussion. Representatives from hundreds of worlds debated passionately. Zaxnor, Chen, and Okafor watched as years of diplomatic work, cultural exchange, and shared scientific endeavors were put to the test. As the debate raged on, Zaxnor found himself approached by a young Vexteri, the same species that had once questioned humanity's trustworthiness. "Admiral," the alien said, its tentacles waving in a gesture of respect, "I was but a hatchling when you first brought news of Earth to us. I've grown up watching our worlds change. Tell me, did you ever imagine it would come to this?" Zaxnor smiled, a gesture he'd adopted from his human colleagues. "Never in my wildest dreams," he admitted. "I came to Earth as a conqueror and found instead a teacher. The humans showed us not just new technology, but a new way of thinking." The young Vexteri's eyes shimmered with excitement. "I'm to join the first Joint Confederation Earth Deep Space Exploration mission," it said proudly. "We'll be venturing beyond the edges of known space, seeking out new life and new civilizations." Zaxnor felt a swell of emotion. This was the future he had been working towards, a galaxy united in the pursuit of knowledge and understanding. As the Assembly's debates continued, Earth's representatives were called upon to address lingering concerns. Admiral Chen stepped forward, his bearing confident but humble. "We understand the fear of change," he began. "For millennia, the Confederation expanded through force, believing it was the only way to survive in a hostile universe. We hid our true nature for so long because we once shared that fear." Chen paused, his eyes scanning the assembled aliens. "But we learned, through long and often painful experience, that there's another way. The universe is vast and full of wonders. By working together, by combining our knowledge and our strengths, we can achieve far more than we ever could through conquest." Colonel Okafor joined him. "In the past 5 years, we've faced challenges together. Natural disasters, cosmic phenomena, even the remnants of old conflicts. Each time, we've emerged stronger, not because of military might, but because of our shared commitment to mutual aid and understanding." Their words seemed to resonate through the hall. Even some of the more skeptical representatives nodded in agreement. As the debate neared its conclusion, Zaxnor was called upon to give a final statement. He stood, feeling the weight of the moment. "Not long ago, I stood before you as a defeated commander," he began, his voice steady. "I had led our greatest fleet to what I thought would be an easy conquest. Instead, I found a civilization that had long surpassed us, not just in technology, but in wisdom." He paused, looking out at the sea of alien faces. "I spent the last 5 years learning from our human allies. I've seen worlds transformed, lives saved, and horizons expanded. But most importantly, I've seen the birth of a new dream. A dream of a galaxy united not by force, but by a shared thirst for knowledge and understanding." Zaxnor's voice grew passionate. "We stand at a crossroads. We can cling to our old ways, to the familiar comfort of conquest and domination. Or we can embrace this new path, this journey into the unknown. It will not be easy. It will challenge us in ways we can't imagine. But I believe, no, I know, that it will lead us to greatness beyond our wildest dreams." As Zaxnor concluded his speech, a hush fell over the hall. Then, slowly at first, but with growing enthusiasm, applause erupted. Species that had once been bitter enemies now stood together, united in a vision of a better future. The vote, when it came, was nearly unanimous. The Galactic Confederation would officially transform into a cooperative of worlds dedicated to exploration, scientific advancement, and mutual aid. As the assembly concluded, Zaxnor found himself surrounded by well-wishers from dozens of species, but his attention was drawn to Admiral Chen and Colonel Okafor, who approached with warm smiles. "You've come a long way, Admiral," Chen said, clapping Zaxxanor on the shoulder. Okafor nodded in agreement. From would-be conqueror to the architect of peace, it's been quite a journey. Zaxxanor felt a swell of emotion. It's a journey we've all taken together, he said. And it's only the beginning. As they left the Hall of Harmony, Zaxxanor paused to look up at the star-filled sky. Somewhere out there, new worlds waited to be discovered, new civilizations to be met. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and for the first time in his life, Zaxxanor felt truly ready to explore it. The failed invasion of Earth had led not to the fall of humanity, but to the rise of a new galactic order. It was an order built not on fear and domination, but on curiosity, cooperation, and hope. As Zaxxanor boarded a ship bound for Earth, his second home now, he reflected on the incredible journey that had brought him to this point. He had come to Earth as a conqueror and found instead a new purpose, a new understanding of the universe and his place in it. The stars stretched out before him, each one a promise of new discoveries to come. Zaxxanor smiled, eager to see what the future would bring. The age of conquest was over. The era of exploration had just begun.